Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Lifestyle Practice Podcast. I'm Steve Vandegraff. I'm your host today. At the Lifestyle Practice, we help dentists take control of their situation and build a practice that is more profitable and less dependent on you doing everything so that you can work less each week and do more of the things that you love in life. If your practice is not doing those things right now, you should reach out. Share your goals with us, your vision of where you want to be, and we would be happy to connect, whether through email or we can jump on a call and kind of weigh in on your situation and let you know what coaching could do for you and your practice. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. If you've been listening for some time, or if you're a part of our group, you'll know the big exciting thing that's happening right now in TLP is Dr. Matt Vogt, our partner and coach, is all over national sports news right now as he qualified for the US Open golf tournament. At the time I'm recording this, he just finished his first round. He started the tournament off with the first drive from the tee box, which is super cool. And there are all sorts of interviews online with him talking about his journey, starting off as a caddy when he was a kid at Oakmont. He went and played college golf and then chose to focus on getting into dental school, becoming a dentist. And then he returned to a focus on golf and shot his way through the amateur qualifiers recently to find himself with a spot at the US Open. And he did this all at the same time as becoming a father several months ago and actually even losing his own father a couple months ago from cancer. So just incredible what he's done. Last week's episode was Matt talking about his golf journey. If you haven't listened to it, I would definitely recommend you go back and listen to that one. On a personal note, I got together on a golf course for the first time with Matt last year. I knew he played in college and he was a serious amateur golfer, but I really didn't understand just how good he was. First of all, when we stayed at Champions Golf Course, which was a really nice place, it was interesting. Everybody seemed to know who he was and they would just come up and start talking with him. And it was weird because Matt lives in Indiana and this course was in Texas. But then we got to the driving range and I started to understand better because he could just smash these balls effortlessly. As in, I couldn't even see where the balls landed. They were so far away. I was pretty floored and I basically said, Matt, you can hit it as far as pros. He responded in a really nonchalant way that actually he could hit it farther than a lot of pros. Not in a bragging way, but just explaining how the different levels of golf worked. And he was definitely at that level. After that, we went to the putting green and Matt played a putting contest versus Derek and I. Our best ball against his, which is the same thing as saying Matt versus Derek, because I'm terrible at golf. But needless to say, he smoked us. But it was just really fun to see Matt's skill firsthand, especially since he's really humble, down to earth, and he would never announce his talents. But now he's in the middle of the US Open as a full-time general dentist. And I love that he's able to experience this. And I think it really embodies what TLP is about. Creating a practice that instead of dominating your life, as is so often the case with dentists, your practice allows you the freedom to chase these other pursuits and enjoy so many other opportunities in life. It doesn't need to be professional golf for you. It's certainly not for me, but we all have things we just would love to do, bucket list experiences that you want to have, people you want to spend more time with. And you can really have that if you build yourself and your practice in the right way. This is not the common or default way that dentists take, but it can be done. And that's probably why you're listening today. So for today's message, I'm going to give you 3 pearls that if you use them every day will help take away the stress and headache that comes from managing your team. Staff is overwhelmingly the most stressful part of ownership for most dentists. If you can develop yourself as a leader to build a hardworking and unified team, a team that really makes your life easier rather than harder, everything in the office and at home outside the office will just be completely different. So here are 3 pearls to help you do that. And they're very simple. The first, accept that people cannot read your mind. This sounds obvious enough, but so many dentists think that their staff should be able to read their mind, magically somehow know what the doctor needs without you verbally telling them. How many times I've spoken with dentists saying that they're going to let go of their assistant because she just doesn't get it. She never hands me what I need or doesn't set things up right. Or that the front desk just is not collecting things like she should or isn't scheduling right, whatever it may be. I'll ask, have you sat down with them and talked to her about how you want things handed to you or about how you want your appointments prioritized, what needs to be changed? And so often the response is something to the effect of, I haven't talked to them directly about it for a while, but I just feel like they've been here long enough. They should really know what to do. Well, guess what? That is completely wrong. It would be convenient if they knew just what to do, but unless you and I tell our staff something needs to be done differently, you can count on nothing changing. Your job as a dentist is to take great care of your patients. Your job as a boss is to make sure people know exactly what they're supposed to do. Dentists are good at the first, but we are bad at the second. So if you silently get frustrated behind your mask when your assistant isn't handing you something or suctioning properly, don't just reach over and grab it or do it yourself. Let your assistant know what you want and exactly how you want her to do it. I mean, especially for assistants, we're working with the same person in a tiny space for several hours every day. That is all opportunity time for training. So talk, train, demonstrate, and correct. But don't just think in your mind that you wish your assistant would do something different and not address it. Your front desk is going to schedule the same way next week as she did this week, unless you say, okay, stop. This isn't right. We need to do it this way. If you wish that your front desk would really catch up on the AR, well, guess what? She's not going to just connect to your wavelength and suddenly decide on her own that she needs to come in on a Friday afternoon and go through outstanding claims, or whatever the task may be. You have to sit down and tell her. This isn't rocket science, but it amazes me how common this simple mistake is. Our team cannot read minds. Your job as the boss is to make sure people know exactly what you want them to do. So tell them. Tip number 2, be specific. When you are correcting staff, having a crucial conversation with them, you have to be very specific. What do I mean here? Again, I hear lots of dentists say something like, oh, I think I need to let my hygienist go. Things are just not working out. I'll ask why, and they'll say, she's just so negative. She never really wants to help other people out. She just does the minimum. And don't get me wrong, I understand that feeling, totally get it. And it's not okay to allow that type of performance to persist on your team. But the problem is you can't go to this team member and say, look, you're always negative. You're never a team player. Those are general sweeping statements. They will very likely just disagree with you. They'll become defensive and the problem will probably get worse. Instead, you need to be very precise. Pull them aside right after you catch a specific problem and tell them specifically what they did and why it's not all right. So instead of, you're not a team player, you say, Jennifer, here, thanks for talking with me. I want to discuss our team commitment to one another. I saw you were late today. You came in 5 minutes after the hour, and then you left before lunch hour while there were a lot of dirty instruments in the sink. It's really important that we are ready to go in the morning and that we go out of our way to help each other. You usually do really well with this. Like last week when you helped at the front desk, I love that. But we really fell short today. Can you see how this is going to affect the rest of the team? Something to that effect. But you're not a team member or you're always negative. Those are very vague and they won't agree with you. But saying you were late this morning and you left instruments in the sink before lunch, those are not an opinion. Those are facts. And because of that, they can own up to their behaviors. If your original overall feeling is that this person is just negative and bringing everyone down, after you address issues in this specific way, then go ahead and make the change, but after specific feedback and proper correction. Don't deal in generalities. If you can't name it, it can't be fixed. So be specific. And then number 3, Again, very simple but profound. Cultivate a mindset of gratitude toward your staff. Actively search for good things that they do and rehearse those thoughts in your mind. Managing a team while taking care of patients is very stressful, and it's very easy when you're under stress to focus on all the negative things. It's so easy for us to exaggerate other people's shortcomings and downplay their contributions. But instead, think for a moment, a little thought experiment here. What would happen next week if your team suddenly went to the office down the road? Which, by the way, they are totally free to do. You would be in dire straits. Your practice would come to an immediate halt. You would be totally alone. So remember, of all the different places they could work in this competitive market, they choose to work for you. I'm not saying overlook problems, don't make changes when needed. But if you have an abundant mindset towards your staff, if you look at your team through a positive lens, it will be much easier to lead them than if you are resentful and petty. See them as people rather than workers, people that have a life of their own outside of your office, but they choose to come and spend most of their time working with you. I've found it's helpful for me to meet their spouses and their family. I can appreciate them more and understand where they're coming from. I'm more ready to invest energy and focus into training them and helping them be the best they can be. So be generous and pay them well, and then have the expectation of reciprocity that they will work hard in return for you. Intentionally focus on the positive things they do, and you will find the frustration and the personal resentment that often comes with management will go down in a big way. You're still going to correct and manage, but do it from a strong, positive place rather than being bitter and frustrated, which is all too common in bosses that don't really appreciate what their team does for them. But just to review, stop expecting your staff to read your mind. Your number one job as the boss is to let people know what they are supposed to do. So stop the quiet mind reading and get talking. Number 2, be specific when giving feedback to your team. Your team will not respond to vague generalizations. Call out the exact behavior you expect to change. And then lastly, cultivate a mindset of gratitude to your team. It'll make all the difference. If you do these things, I promise the stress from staff management will go way down and enjoyment will go up. Become an expert at all three. Thanks for listening today. Please visit us at thelifestylepractice.com for more help with your practice and reach out to us directly. If you have any difficult situations with your staff that you're working through right now, shoot us an email. We'd be happy to connect and see how we might be able to help. Steve, Matt, or Derek at thelifestylepractice.com. Have a great week.